Jennifer, this is kind of a team up here because you guys worked on Nightcrawlers and perhaps shared a few other things. So how different was it producing with people you already knew and projects so you had a sense of what was going to end up versus just walking into something cold, like a cold casting call for a producer?
There's of course great ease. We've done Nightcrawler together, but John and I have done 3 other films in addition to those 2, so 5 together now.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's a real shorthand, and it's and we felt so lucky to get to have Kevin come back from Nightcrawler and assembled. We also had Robert Elswit, who shot Nightcrawler as well.
James Newton Howard.
James Newton Howard, yeah. So it becomes a family.
And so, John, Denzel Washington was not only a producer working with Jennifer with this, he was also in there editing.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And his son was as well, right?
Yeah.
So how did that work? It's a full.
You want to keep the brain trust really small, but it was just great having his input. He had so many insights into his character that we thought we knew, but he would point something out. We're like, oh, this and that, and he's a filmmaker himself too. So he's done this before, and he's comfortable in the cutting room. He's really good. He's really good in the cutting room, and he can watch himself. A lot of actors can't really watch themselves, but he could. He had no
So
trouble.
he could watch like he was watching a third person and be dispassionate
Absolutely,
about
just
it?
like a pro like that.
And how was his dad or his son editing his dad?
His son, Malcolm was just great having him in the room, and he had another interesting perspective, and they're obviously very close. So it was the 4 of us, and it was really interesting. It was really fun.
And Kevin, there are of late and have been so many movies in the past that were shot in LA, but they weren't identified or identifiable as LA because you shoot in Vasquez Rocks, you want to make believe it's Mars. But this was so quintessentially LA, and it was several characters of Los Angeles. You had rich Los Angeles, which was floating above poor Los Angeles down on the ground level. And so much of it was downtown. How did you make those decisions, and did you have to do any persuading with these guys, like this is the place to do it?
Well, yeah, with any film, we walked the sidewalk. We walked from Roman's house to his office, to the courthouse. We figure out how far is it from Roman's office to the hospital. And once you understand the fabric of Los Angeles, it's easy to really kind of see how it works. And, and to show Dan and, all of us standing there with Robert Elswit, we kind of found our tableau.
It did have almost a neo-noir quality to it when you look at the street level and what's still in downtown.
Sure.
And the sinister element that you brought into that there, which probably didn't need too much of a push, right?
No. But the funny thing about downtown is it's going through so much change, and there's so much construction. I think in the one shot of him when he's on the balcony of the level hotel, we counted like 14 or 15 tower cranes that night. So it's just under constant change. And one thing I really enjoyed about making this movie was that we were able to show LA. When you see this movie 10 years from now, you're going to see those buildings that are under construction are going to be, full built. So it's kind of a timeless, classic time capsule.
Jennifer, was it harder than you thought? You thought, oh, we're shooting in LA, it'll be easier, it'll be cheaper, and then it turns out to be harder than you thought?
No.
Really?
I find shooting in LA, to me, LA is the best city in the world to shoot in. We have the most experienced crew who are happy to sleep in their own beds. We have
Murmurs of appreciation from the audience on that one.
Yes, we have incredible weather for shooting, very consistent. It's there's such great ease. I feel great privilege to get to shoot in this city, and it's rare, and we were beneficiaries of the tax rebate on the film, and that helped us hugely. Had we not been, we would have still made it work because there was nowhere else that we could shoot.
Was it shot everything on schedule?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, of course,
Yeah, we always do it that
you
way.
have
You
no
implying.
idea how often we hear something other than that up here. So.
No, we run a tight ship.
Well, since you all know one another, too, there's no hard feelings except you two guys at Thanksgiving, maybe. I don't know, family, it's a little difficult.
We get along. We're twins. We're fraternal twins.
You could tell that, right?
And we get along. And it's I don't think we never fight. We didn't have one fight. We just we have the same sort of vision for things, so it makes it work very easy.
How did the principal character then evolve? How much of it was Denzel Washington's input? did you conceive him as a character who was perhaps somewhere on the autism spectrum, or is that something that Denzel Washington said, how about if we do this?
So I really heavily underwrite. I don't really put many descriptions of the character or the setting or any parentheticals of what a character is feeling. So I invite, on Nightcrawler, the whole thing was to get Jake come in and create this character. The same thing here. I took myself, after Nightcrawler, I took myself off the market for a year and wrote this on spec for Denzel. I'd never met him before. And I'd never really written for an actor before. Had Denzel not done it, I wouldn't have done the film.
Really?
Would not have done the film. It's just, it was so hand in glove, I couldn't conceive of it. And when Denzel then committed, it started a year-long process, before Fences and after Fences, where he started creating the character, every aspect of the character. He always says from the inside out. He has a very private internal process that he does not really share what that process is, but he'll start to come with you with the results, and you'll start to see this person form. So right up until a week before shooting, when I went in to have a rehearsal with him, and he smiled and he'd ground the gap out of his teeth, which was
And that was
an
the first
amazing
you
moment.
knew about it.
It was the first I knew about it. But I mean, you're just the level of commitment for an actor to do that is just so incredible. I think the last thing I remember he came up with a character is 2 days before shooting. He said, "I only eat peanut butter sandwiches over the sink." So it was like, was it chunky or is it creamy? Like, which one is it?
It was Jif.
It was
Oh,
Jif.
yeah.
He wanted
It was
Jif.
definitely Jif.
It was Jif. We
But
should have
it's-
gotten product placement from Jif.
But as soon
I'm
as
still a
I
little sore about
saw
that.
the rows of Jif, I knew a lot about his character. So was that you, Kevin, who brought that to?
No,
Are you a Jif man?
exactly. No, I think we
I
went
think
to
he's
the
a
closest
Skippy man.
store during the rehearsal and bought the store out with all their peanut butter, and it happened to be Jif. So I think that's how we decided on Jif, because they happen to have enough.
The answer to that question is we spent days thinking about it. Jif says
Is it a
so much
Skippy scene?
internally,
Is it a Jif scene?
We tried it with Skippy and it just didn't work.
and the character wasn't coming together.
There was also some humor that Denzel Washington's character brought that maybe you wouldn't have felt permission to do otherwise. The scene where someone tells him that William is dead, I'm sorry, and he says, well, why? You didn't kill him. Right. Where did that come from, your conception of the character, or was it the way that Denzel Washington chose to bring it?
That line is in the script, but Denzel certainly brought humor. The scene where she calls him up and asks him out a date. I mean, as he's doing it, we're in the cutting room. I think we must have watched that over 100 times. It was just as funny the 100th time as it was the first time.
We laughed every time. Every time we go by, we like laugh and then look at each other like, I can't believe we laughed.
And then you're watching these takes. He's like, Denzel got shoes that were 2 sizes too big, which is why he's always galumping around. And like, anytime he comes into the room, he would start running. He'd like run into the room like a little kid, and it's just so endearing. And it is funny. That's Denzel. That stuff's Denzel.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you for
being
coming.
here as
Thank
well.
you.